Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Jamie Newton-Knight. I am your motherhood mastery mentor. I help moms take charge of their lives, balance their families, and co-parent with ease. And tonight, with Moms in Prayer, we have Akeda Wilkinson, who is not only talking about single mamahood, but she is a good friend, my best friend, one of my best friends for a million years. I feel like it's been a million years, Keita. We've seen our children grow and all these wonderful things, and I'm just glad to see her finally spreading her wings and wanting to start her own business. So this is step one for her. So I'm going to introduce her and I'm going to let her take it away. Akeda considers herself a jack of all trades as an accounting professional, a Beachbody coach, and super mom of 3 kids ages 6, 10, and 22. She is currently pursuing her degree in accounting, a field she has worked in now for over 15 years. As the CEO of her newly created platform, The Singal Mama, she hopes to use her story and resources to help other moms gracefully transition into and through single motherhood and back to the other side, releasing the stigma, embarrassment, and resentment that comes along with being single, a single mom, and embracing the job that God has entrusted her with and us all with. So welcome, Akeda. Thank you for being here. I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to let you take it away.
Cool. So first I want to say thank you, Jamie, for this amazing opportunity. Like she said, this is my very first coming out. I've been thinking about doing something and what my voice was and, what did I have to offer for quite some time. And during one of my walks, it was like single mom. Like everybody's always asking you how you do it. They're always amazed at, the schedule I keep and all types of other things. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can start talking and creating a space for people to come and just vent or, get some ideas, learn how to organize. So that's what the Single Mama is about. Played with the word because I'm in a relationship. So sometimes I feel a little bit funny still calling myself a single mom, but there's still aspects of raising your children in the blended situation that create single mom. And you have married moms who feel like single moms. Your husband might work nights, your husband might travel, and you're still home doing everything for the kids. So a lot of the things that single moms go through, married moms go through, and so forth. So it's just a good space for moms to get together, and I'm still figuring out exactly what that looks like, but this is the start. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. Like I said in the bio, I have 3 kids. One is 22 and married and expecting. So I'm about to add grandma to my list of duties. And I am still dealing with the word grandma. So I'm getting to it. He'll be here in August. Super excited about that. And I also have a 10-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter who are very busy. They dance, they football, they soccer, they baseball, cheerlead, all of that stuff. And I mostly do it all by myself. So what I'm mostly wanting to talk to you guys about is self-care, because it's something that I had to learn how to do myself and learn that self-care is not selfish. I had to keep repeating that to myself because it's something that I did not agree with even hearing it. Self-care is not selfish. You're always worried about doing everything for the kids. What do the kids need? Where do they need to be? How do they need to get there? And you never think about what you need. And you always wonder why you're frustrated or sad or you're emotional or your temper flares. And it's because you're not taking care of yourself. You're not taking that moment to decompress, find that quiet space, do something for yourself so that you can give what you need to give to the kids and give what you need to give to yourself. So me being half nerd, I looked up the definition of self-care, and it is an activity done deliberately in order to take care of our mental, emotional, and physical health. most times when I think of self-care, people say stuff like getting your hair done or getting your nails done. And in the research that I've been doing, it goes so much deeper than that. I'm just now getting back into school. You know, that could be self-care, because for a long time I didn't go because I had to worry about where the kids were going to be, who was going to watch them, or even doing it online. Do I have the time to sit in front of the computer and get my papers done? There's so many aspects that deter you from doing the things that you need to do for yourself. And not doing those things breeds resentment. And you wonder, you know, why does it bother you so much to see your ex-partner moving on with his life? Why does it bother you so much to see anybody who's able to do the things that you wish you could do? And it's because you haven't figured out how to do that yourself. So once you figure out how to do that yourself, you're not worried about what your ex is doing. You're not worried about what your friends are doing. You're not worried about what anybody else is doing, because you're doing what you need to do for yourself. And in turn, you're doing what you need to do for your family, because your kids can see when you're not happy. You can't hide from them. They know you inside and out, literally. So, you know, you're not really putting up a facade for them. They can see that you're not happy. And when they see that you're not happy, you know, that can do something to them and you don't even know. You're walking around, you know, just a mad person, and your kids are like, man, mom's always sad. Why is mom always mad? And it affects them. And we don't think about that. We're just doing what we need to do for the kids. We're getting them where they go, and y'all should be happy. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Just get what you need to do. So I want to keep stressing that self-care is not selfish. I literally have to say that to myself almost every single day. Self-care is not selfish. Being a single mom, whew, it's a challenge. Being a mom, period, is challenge. It's the most challenging job on the planet, and I do believe we should get a paycheck just for it. Husbands should have to take an extra tax out their check and say, you know, this is for being mom. Because even though I'm here in the house, I know that you do so much more in the house. So I'm for that. You know, you want to get on, what's that website where you go in, you get the petition, you send it out to people? Let's start that tax. Petitions to pay moms. But so my quarantine started off with me and my job going head to head. Before everyone else was sent home, the schools closed. My partner works overnight, so he's home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I went to my boss and I said, you know, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm good with the school closing. But Thursday and Friday, I need to be able to figure something out. He can't stay home and do work with the children. She said, okay, let me go to HR and see what we can work out. I get an email that says, you're going to have to use PTO if you need to be off on Thursdays and Fridays. I said, PTO? We don't know how long we're going to be home. Y'all don't give us that much PTO to be using. So I'm the queen of nasty, nice emails. Everyone in my department comes to me when they need something sent. So I drafted my email. I even sent it to someone and said, hey, can you read this? I want to make sure I don't get fired for this. I need to get my point across. So my job, mandatory overtime when the company's busy. They will make you work 50, 60 hours, Saturday, Sunday, 7 a.m., 8 p.m., whatever it takes to get the job done. So my email simply stated, when you need me to be here for 60 hours, I can be here for 60 hours, 7 days straight. You don't care where my kids are, how they picked up, dropped off, fed, nothing. I'm simply asking you to help me figure out how I can tend to my children of no fault of my own. It's not because I don't have daycare or can't afford it. It's shut down. And y'all are like, use PTO? What happens in a couple of weeks when my PTO runs out? Then what? Now you're telling me I can't get paid and be home. I sent that email about 11 a.m. 3 p.m. I'm getting a phone call. Can you come to the conference office? I said, oh, Lord, I'm about to lose my job. So I'm doing the death walk, walking to my coworkers. It's been good knowing y'all. I'm waving. I get there and they're like, you know, we figured out that, you know, we're going to start sending people home and we're going to allow you to be one of the first group. You're going to be our guinea pig. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because I sure thought I was about to get walked up out of here. And everybody was like, thank you so much for sending that email. We know your email. My boss never said nothing about my email. The controller never said nothing about my email. It was never mentioned that that email was sent, but my prayer was answered, and I believe my point got across. And now, now they're asking us, how do you feel? What are your concerns about coming back into the office? Well, mine is, we don't know what school's gonna look like. So you send me back into the office now, I might be okay. But as soon as school start, I might be in that same predicament. And now I got even less PTO time than I had in March. So sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself. Sometimes you gotta know when not to stand up. There are certain times where, something's going on and I'm a little bit fast. I'm in Atlanta, but I'm from New York. So I got that immediate reaction to stuff sometimes. I gotta pause, let me read it, let me write it, sit on it for a little while. But part of being that single mom, I made sure that my job didn't affect it. I try not to take off if I don't have to. My village is amazing with my children. So if I know at night, the night before, that they're sick, I'm calling grandma, can I please drop so-and-so off on my way to work? Or, anything I can do to make sure that they're not looking at me going, oh, she got kids, she's always out, she's always late, she always got to leave early, she always got to take off. Kids ain't allowed at the office, so there's no bringing them there, period. But, in making sure that I do that, I felt like I had the right to say, you know what, I've done everything you guys have asked me to do. I've done this crazy schedule, and now I need you to help me help you, because you need me to do my job, but I need to be home with my kids too. So that's a little how my quarantine started. And since then, it's been not bad. I'm not going to say it's been great. I'm not hands off to teachers. Daycare is one bill I never complain about paying. They can have the kids for 8 hours. I will pay you any amount. I'm dropping my kids off at 7 when you open. I ain't picking them up until 6:45. You close at 7, I'll be there at 6:45. I'm never late on my payment to the daycare center. You can have it. But teaching the kids at home and trying to work at home, I had to get a schedule. So my first tip is get organized. It's extremely important to be organized when you're dealing with kids, period, whether you're a single mom or regular mom. If you're not organized, then, you're bumping calendars, you're missing assignments, you're not getting what you need to get done, the kids ain't getting what they need, you find yourself rushing, and that's when you start doing things like giving your kids fast food all the time, or your kids aren't getting proper sleep, laundry's, building up. With my first child, I used to buy clothes every time I got paid, just so I had to do laundry. Like, I hated doing laundry. I didn't have time to do laundry. I was running around. We just buy stuff. I can't do that now. I got 2 little ones, so that's a little expensive. But all the mistakes you make with your first kid, I'm trying to resurrect them with the second one. And I laugh with Trey all the time. I'm like, I'm really sorry for messing you up as a young mom, but you came out good. So I did a little bit of a good job. You still came out okay, but there's some things, because he'll say, well, you didn't do that with me, and I'm so sorry I didn't do that with you. I wasn't mature at 20, but at 32, I done learned some things, so I can do some things better than what I did before. But getting organized is super important, especially if you're needing to use other people to get what you need to get done. So it's so much easier to say 4 days in advance, I got a bumping schedule. Can you please do X, Y, and Z on Thursday? If I'm asking on Monday, then say on Wednesday, tomorrow I need you to do this. Because you have to be respectful of other people's time and give them the opportunity to see if they can shift something around, or if it's something that they can do. So being organized, knowing what you got to do. If you need a calendar, if you're a paper person, my partner's like, I need to write it down. I bought him a calendar. Now you don't have an excuse. You got paper, you got pen, you got a book, you got the calendar, however you need to do it. Cell phone has calendar in it with this awesome thing called alerts. It'll alert you a week before, the day before, an hour before, 30 minutes before. There's no excuse to not know what you need to do, when you need to do it, and to be where you need to be. So those are super, super important things, especially being a single mom. Like, you just have to be on top of your schedule and what you need to do, and be intentional. You know, make sure that just as important as it is to get your kids to school, it should be that important to get you some self-care, to spend an hour with yourself at least once a week. You know, if it's 15 minutes a day, wake up 15 minutes earlier while the kids are still sleeping and get your 15 minutes of whatever you need to do. If it's 15 minutes of prayer, 15 minutes to read the Bible, 15 minutes to do a quick 15-minute walk around the block or video, anything, whatever it is that calms you down and gets you ready, take that 15 minutes for yourself. You might not get it later on, but you can guarantee that you can wake up 15 minutes and nobody's going to be awake, and you can get that in. So be intentional. We always make sure our kids are where they're supposed to be. We always make sure that, you know, they get what they need, but we don't necessarily make sure that we get what we need and be where we need to be, or schedule time for ourselves. And it's super important. I was so stressed running around with my kids, getting them to all of their different destinations, and I didn't even realize I was stressed until one day, like, I just broke down because I didn't know why I was so tired. I didn't know what was wrong. I just knew that something wasn't right, and this ain't the way it's supposed to be. The only time I went out is somebody's birthday or some special occasion. That was my me time. And of course, with a small circle of friends, that becomes 1, 2, 3 times a year. You know, and you're doing stuff for everybody every single day, but you only do something for yourself 1, 2, 3 times a year. That's not enough. That's not self-care. That's just, you know, you're still caring for other people because you're out supporting somebody else. You're not out because this is your decompression time, and it could be both, but, you know, you're still doing something for someone else. You're not doing anything for yourself. So be intentional. Find that time to spend with yourself, however it looks like. It might not work in the morning for you. It might be, me and Jamie did that once, Sherry. We rented a hotel, I think it was in Jersey by the airport, and we just went by ourselves. We didn't go nowhere. We didn't hang out. We didn't go to a club. We just went to a hotel, and we didn't even do what we planned to do. I think we bought cigars. We didn't even smoke a cigar. Like, we got this whole scheme of things that we were going to do. I think we ended up going to sleep.
Precisely. That's what happens when you turn, like, over a certain age. You're like, yeah, girl, we gonna go party, and we gonna go do this. And by the time we got there, we were like, oh, this is relaxing. Let's just watch a movie. And then we were both asleep.
Sleep is amazing. And, you know, your body gets used to waking up. You know, they ask me all the time, why are you always up Saturday morning? I'm just so used to getting up. I can't even sleep, and it don't feel right. Like, there's always something to do. There's some chore to do. There's food shopping. There's always something. So you got to make yourself sit down sometimes. I know I do. I'm so used to ripping and running. This quarantine has me reevaluating some stuff, because I'm used to running, and this is not what I'm used to. But it's forcing me to find ways to get in tune with myself. I joined a Bible study that I normally wouldn't have done. We're reading an amazing book, getting into more groups in Facebook with more women who are talking about being spiritual and growing in their spirits. They're growing in their businesses. You know, they're dealing with their kids. So just finding things that are more for me and not for the kids during this time. And in that, I'm also finding things for them, because you get ideas from other moms. You know, you can feed off of other positive energy. You feed off of other people's positive energy. So, you know, I listened to the news the other day, and they said, if you're around an idiot, if you're around 5 idiots, you're going to be an idiot. You know, if you're around five negative people, then you're going to be the 6th negative person, right? So, you know, if you surround yourself, you need to surround yourself with people who are like what you want to be like, or who are like, you know, they always say you should not be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you got the wrong group of friends. You know, you need to surround yourself with people who are trying to do either bigger things who are doing bigger things than you, or trying to move in the same space that you're trying to move in. You know, sometimes that means you got to leave people behind. There are friends who you grew up with. There are friends who, you know, are dear to you. There are family members who, you know, just are just there, but they're not bringing anything positive into your space. They're not feeding into you. They're not helping you grow. Matter of fact, they're holding you back. And that's the hardest thing to do, to let go of someone or something that you've held on to for all this time. But in order to move to that next plateau in life, you got to be like, yeah, this relationship doesn't work for me. Doesn't mean you got to cut them off, but you know, they don't have to be in your immediate circle of people. They're not the person that you go to run ideas by. They're not the person who you're looking for advice. You know, that you can still love you. I can love you, but I'm gonna love you from over here, because where I'm trying to go, you're not trying to go there. You're trying to stay over here, and I need to get to where God has asked me to be. And I think for me, a long time, I've just fought against what God has asked me to be. Like, he's always asking of you. I used to do so much community service and be so involved in so many different things. And I kind of sheltered myself in after my second relationship ended, because I was angry and ashamed and embarrassed. Like, I couldn't believe I was back in this space again. You know, I live in Georgia. None of my family's here. None of my family's here. So I'm here in this state by myself, and there's just so much. And I was like, I just shut down, because I don't want to keep talking to my family and telling them everything that's going on, because first thing they're going to say is, you just need to come back home. I don't want to go back to New York. I love New York. I love the food, but that's not where I want to raise my kids. But I understand their point. You know, they want you to be around them so they can help you. They can, you know, what they call help. They want you to be around them to do that. But I wanted to be here. So I kind of kept everything to myself. And in doing that, you know, it was damaging to myself, you know, damaging to my son used to call me a big ball of anger. Like, you're like the sun. That's what he called me. He told me I'm like the sun. You're just a big ball of anger. And I was just like, wow, really? Me? So I had to, you know, look inside when he said that. That hurt. You know, I couldn't let him know that hurt, but it hurt. Like, hold on. Someone's asking me for the meeting password. Okay, sorry. Yeah, my son is brutally honest. So he got his sarcasm from me and his arrogance from his dad, and you mix that with some honesty, and you just want to punch him in his face. And he's 6'3", so I can't even just jab straight across. I gotta step on something and get him real good. But yeah, kids are honest. My 10-year-old's real honest, and we're working on that, because you know that his mouth gets him in trouble a lot. But yeah, I had to look inside myself and be like, why are you so angry? You know, what's causing you to be so angry? Why are you so embarrassed? And I was angry because I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do. I was angry because I felt trapped in doing all of this by myself, and I wasn't looking at the job that God gave me. I gave you these beautiful children, and they're going to be what I want them to be, regardless of the situation that you find yourself in right now. So don't worry about what anybody else is doing. You just worry about what I got you doing, and you're going to be fine. And I took that approach. I didn't think about them. I still don't think about what they're doing. You know, my son has very little contact with his dad, but he's off doing what he needs to do, and we do what we need to do. And he's living an awesome life. He's happy, he's healthy, and he doesn't even ask about him anymore. I never say anything negative about his dad. You know, that's not something I do. I don't feed that into him. Whatever relationship he'll have with him, he'll have. My oldest son, I never spoke ill will about his dad, and you know, their relationship is what it is, but that's on them. But I concentrated on me and what I needed to do. I need to make sure I can do what I need to do. So I built a relationship with not him, but his family. You know, I made sure I kept a relationship with grandma and grandpa. I got the relationship with auntie, and you know, you can't tell the difference now between my family and them. We're all blended. It's just one family, and it was a hard thing for my new partner to deal with at first, because he's looking at them like, those are your ex's people. And, you know, why are we over here? You know, and just recently he told me the first time I took him over there, he's like, our engagement picture was still hanging up in their living room. None of us realized that it's been there for so long. He was like, do you know how uncomfortable that was? And I was like, I am so sorry. I didn't realize, but I wanted you to come and meet them and see that, you know, this wasn't a situation where you should feel any type of uncomfortability. Like, they're here because they have genuine love for not just Chance, but for all of us, you know, and they're still here. And now, you know, Chance's grandpa calls him like, hey, what you doing? You know, they're sitting in the garage right now. We're self quarantining, but, you know, he's at one side of the garage and Jeffrey's at the other side drinking a beer. So that relationship has gone from the awkward ex's family to, you know, my family, your family. You know, this is our family. And when I initially tell people about that relationship, they're always like, huh? What do you mean? You still have, you know, the relationship's a little bit weird to them, but it works. And for the kids, it's amazing. You know, my daughter, that's her grandma and grandpa, more so than her real grandma and grandpa. She doesn't know that they're not related to us. And I can call them and they can call us. They just dropped off some stuff in the Dollar Tree in the garage the other day. Like, it's such an amazing feeling to not hold on to the relationship aspect of it and to just deal with the people. Like, you know, I don't talk about their son in front of them. You know, they'll come to me and be like, you know, my son's a idiot. I'm like, look, that's your child. Exactly. That's your child. I can't do anything with him. But I'm here. And Chance is here. So, you know, there's definitely boundaries that I would never cross. You know, as much as they talk about him, I'll let them talk about him. You talk about him like he's a dog. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm good. Whatever he does, he does. But that's also how I survive as a single mom. Like, having that background, having that extra set of hands, that extra car, you know, the extra cheerleaders. If I got the kids and they got to be in 2 different places, you know, thank God for grandma and grandpa. I used to feel so guilty when my oldest son had a baseball game and I had just had my daughter and I couldn't be there. I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm his only parent here, you know, but Chance's grandparents stepped in and they went to the game. It didn't alleviate all of my guilt, but it made me feel so much better that he wasn't just there alone. I didn't have to send him with another parent and, you know, that other parent step in. He had his own set of support system. He had his own support system at the game. So I had to learn that it's okay to not make every game. It's okay to not make every parent teacher conference, although I try to make those, but you can't be at every field trip or, you know, donuts for dad or, you know, muffins for mom. Like, there was something going on every couple of weeks at school and I'm looking at my son like, I'm sorry, I can't take off work every time you got something going on, even though I wanted to be there so bad, but I couldn't do it. And you can't get someone to be there every time either, but those are things we all have to let go of and understand and deal with. And the kids have to deal with that too. And he learns to accept it. So it was kind of cool. And I feel like I just completely got off topic. So I'm going to go back. Rewind. Back to self-care. I'm going to call myself a growing Christian, because as I grew up in the church, you know, you stray away and you do your own thing. And then you realize I should have been in church. So you go back. And then for whatever reason, you stop going again. So I've kind of been in and out of church, in and out for different reasons, not finding the right church, not fitting in, not knowing what type of role I can play in church, being a single mom. Like, are they going to accept you? You know, there are certain churches who are like, you know, you can come to church, but if you actually want to participate, I need you to be married, you know, holy, sanctified, all that. So definitely, trying to find the right space. And I feel like I found that now, where I can be open and honest about who I am and where I am in my Christianity and not feel judged. And that has allowed me to grow, not just as a Christian, but as a woman. Because now it's like, okay, if I can grow in this space in my Christian journey, then I'm supposed to be growing as well in my personal life. It's supposed to be hand in hand. God didn't create us to go to church and be struggling at home. He created us to, be that story that says, I was here and now I'm here, but God brought me here. This is what God did for me. We're all supposed to be testimonies. So in growing in my Christian word and learning, I've gotten closer to the pastor and shared more of my story, because I was ashamed of my story. I have 3 kids. They all got 3 different dads. When you say that like that, people looking to like, oh my God. But I was in relationships that lasted for years before I had these children. Without knowing the story, just saying it out loud in that one sentence, brings a little bit of shame. You walking into the doctor's office, is your last name? No, my last name ain't the same. It's a different last name. There's that, and there's just so much that goes into your story. And if people don't really know your story, you feel like they judge you from that first sentence. That first sentence is a mic drop. That's a lot. We were there at one point when you heard somebody had multiple kids, they got multiple baby dads. Your first thing is, well, that person is loose, or they're this, or they're that. And then you find yourself in that position and you gotta be like, wow. It's an eye opener, and I had to build a little bit of tough skin to be able to share my story with everyone. And my story is humongous. It doesn't just fold into 3 kids. I got 2 preemies. So I have that aspect. They both spent 6 weeks in the NICU after being born. So, I have marchadons that I deal with. So there's just so many levels to not just my story, but I feel like everybody has all of those different levels, where if you don't actually get to know somebody, then you don't know why they moved the way they move, or why they did the things they did, or how they ended up in the positions they ended up in. Sometimes, we were talking yesterday about grief, but it's like life. Like, God puts things in front of you, but he wants you to concentrate what's on the other side of the door. Everybody's we all going through this stuff. And I feel like I'm on the other side of, that whole single mom stigma. I'm dealing with the relationship I am in. And yes, we are in counseling. However, it's still, he's there. He's in counseling, which means he wants to be there. So I'm not in a bad situation, and we're moving towards the other side of the door. So it's just like finding that niche and that thought process, and getting into that space that says, I want to do better. I don't want to be the bitter baby mama. I don't want to be perceived as the bitter baby mama. I don't want to be perceived as the reason how I got to be a single mom, because never know what that reason is. You could be a single mom because the person you were with is deceased. You just never know. But the notion is, if you're a single mom, it's because you had children out of wedlock. So just letting go of that stigma and learning how to not judge people when you hear that. I learned that long time ago, to not judge from that, but it's just hard to even say it out loud, because a lot of people are still learning that. So you don't want to put yourself out there where you find yourself defensive, because that's not a good thing. I'm not good at being defensive. I'm pretty quick at shutting you down. So I don't even want to give you that avenue to, as soon as you look like you about to say something wrong, you're going to see a different person. I'm going to go to New York, and I'm not going to be a Georgia Peach anymore. So, my tag is Miss Apple Peach. So, I went from New York. I'm down here. I'm trying to be cool, calm, and collective. But these people down here, they're not as Southern as they promised to be. I promise you. They some rude little so-and-so. They're not as peachy. So sometimes you got to get a little apple on them, but it's okay. So I definitely attempt to, it's opened my eyes to look at people in different manners, and it gets me the opportunity to, when I'm listening to other people talking, I don't judge them based on what they exactly say. I try to get into a deeper conversation to find out what it is they mean. I have a friend, love her to death. She loves her kids to death. But we were talking about something, and we were like, well, what about your kids? And she was like, F those kids. And I was like, what? Did you just said F your kids. Like, it took me back. But, you know, she loves her kids to death, and there's nothing she wouldn't do for them. She was just saying in that moment, it's not about them. It's about me, what I need to do. But you know, the first time and she says it often, but, you know, again, because I know her now, it's like, okay, I know she don't really mean it. But to hear it that first time, I was just like, okay, hold on. Whoa. But that was just one of the things I thought about when I was thinking about, like, you need a space to be able to say that. Like, if you have a friend that you can say that to and they not judge you for saying it because they know that you don't really mean that literally, but you just needed to get it off your chest. That's one of the things that I felt compelled when I thought about the single mama. Like, you need to be able to say F whoever. If that's how you feel at that moment, you need to be able to say it to get it off your chest so that you're not walking around feeling it. Once you say it, you can get it off and they can be like, yeah, you know, but hopefully you're talking to somebody who's going to say, I know you feel that way now, but this is how you get from feeling that way. Like, you need to think about this instead. Don't concentrate on that. Think about this. And then you can move forward from that. Now, if you got some ratchet friends, you might be in a little bit of trouble because they'll be sitting there like, yeah, man, let's go, you know, slice his tires or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Take it off your earrings. So, you know, hopefully we're more mature now. You know, we're not slashing tires or, you know, doing anything that. We hit them in the pockets. If we need to do anything, we'll figure out a neutral way of doing that. But just having that space to vent, that's part of self-care. You need a circle of people who you can vent to. I can call you and tell you, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like, such and such, just whatever the situation is. And that friend is there to be like, listen, of course, you have to listen, hear what they're saying, and then give them something positive to walk away with. And don't walk away from that conversation feeling the same way. Hopefully you don't feel the same way that you felt when you started that conversation. I think I called you a couple of months ago, Jamie, and I was just livid. I was beyond that. It was late at night and I just needed somebody to vent to. And she just listened, all nice and calm, and I'm just going off. And she was like, okay, well, I'm gonna call you back tomorrow and I'm gonna check on you and make sure you're so and so. And I'm like, okay.
Of course. I said, do you want me to listen or do you want advice? You was like, just listen. Okay, I'm listening.
We all need that though. And you know, I find when you don't have that solid person, you know, if you got the wrong person in your ear, that'll tear you down real quick. Because, you know, in that headspace, as angry as I was, if I would have had someone sitting there talking about, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, I could have been in any type of situation. That might have been a domestic situation. Somebody might have got locked up or hurt. I might have been hurt. Who knows? But, you know, having the wrong person in your ear when you're going through something and not having someone positive to talk to, it can be detrimental. And I feel like if everybody had that one solid person they could call, a lot of situations that people go through would be avoided because you would have that person that lets you get it off your chest, say what you got to say. Okay, this is what we're going to do now. We're not going to do that because you're smarter than this. You're better than this. You got kids to think about. You got a job you can't afford. I ain't got no bail money to come get you, boo. I ain't got none. You know, I'm gonna be sitting there going, oh my God, she in jail. What we's gonna do now? Let me see. Do I have her mama number? Let me see if I call her mama. Because we ain't got no bail money for you. So you need that friend that's gonna be like, nah, we not doing this. This is what we gonna do. You know, hell, I'm gonna pray for you. Who gonna be mad? You can't be mad sitting through a prayer. You mad sitting through a prayer, something wrong with you. You really need Jesus. Let's pray. Let's say this prayer right here. We gonna pray. We just gonna pray. You don't necessarily feel 100% better afterwards, but you feel like somebody's heard you, somebody understands you, and you can figure out what you need to do, what the next step is. So having a circle is extremely important for your self-care because you need somebody to vent to. You need someone to bounce ideas off of. You need somebody to talk you off the ledge. You need somebody to push you to do what it is that, you're trying not to do. So, I just mentioned to Jamie, I had this on my brain. This is what I wanted to do. I was telling her, I was a little nervous. I was like, it's kind of in the realm of what you're doing, but it's a little bit different because I'm coming from a different standpoint. So I wasn't even sure. I held it back for a long time just because I was like, I don't want to do anything that's gonna, go against what my friend's doing. Like, I want to support my friend, but I just kept seeing an area where I could work differently. So finally, I got enough nerve to be like, hey, I need to talk to you. And she was immediate, like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. And I think 2 or 3 days later, she was like, I'm about to do this Moms in Prayer. And I was like, okay. So when I tell you this is a new thing for me, this is literally new, like not even 30 days new for me. So I hope I'm not boring you guys too bad in my delivery. So just having that circle, I can't stress how important the circle is. The circle is important not just for your self-care, but for your kids' self-care. They need to know that if something happens to you, my kids are comfortable. They know that grandma got them. They know dad got them. They know Nana's coming. My brother's coming. Somebody's coming. And they're not panicked if something happened to me. And that's the worst feeling to have. So, like, when I was in the hospital with my daughter, I was in the hospital for like almost 2 weeks before I had her. And then like a week after. And Chance was only 3 at the time. So that was very hard for him to be away from me that long. And the one time they did bring him, he broke down so bad. Like, he was so afraid see me sitting in the hospital bed. And the lady was coming in to take my blood pressure, which is why I was in there anyway. And it was through the roof. I was like, ma'am, you can't do this to me right now. You see my child in here falling out on the floor and you gonna take my temperature? She was like, I'm gonna come back in a few minutes. I'm like, yes, please do that. Come back. But I had to be comfortable, and he was comfortable being away, but just seeing me in that setting, set him off. But once he was back home, they was able to calm him down, and he wasn't worried anymore. And I wasn't worried because I knew the people he was with was taking very good care of him. And that's one of the stresses that single moms have. Like, who's going to take care of my kid if something happens to me? If I get sick, God forbid something terrible happens and you pass, who's going to take care of my kids? Where are they going to be? Or if I get stuck at work, who's going to pick my kids up? If there's traffic and I'm running late, the daycare closes at 6, I'm still 20 minutes away. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Just having that village is comfortable. I had to get comfortable talking to neighbors. That ain't something I'm comfortable doing. You grow up in New York, you don't talk to so-and-so next door, unless you happen to find yourself in a common area. You don't just walk around talking to your neighbors. That ain't something it's not something I grew up doing. But I had to get comfortable doing that down here. I had to get comfortable talking to the moms of the other kids in the neighborhood, the moms at the baseball games, the moms at the basketball games, the moms at I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because just like they would call me, hey, can you pick up my kid? I got school on Tuesday. I did that for the whole football season, not knowing that when dance came around, I was going to have to ask her to return the favor. Chance had so-and-so. Can you please grab Kylie for me? I know you're already going. And it was no problem because I did it for the whole football season. Normally, I'd have been that mom, drop my kid off for football. I pick him back up. I wave at y'all during the game, but I'm not really sitting conversating with you. So I had to get comfortable, growing my village, even outside of the village of my family, because it literally does take a village to raise kids. You can't, oh Lord, you can't do it by yourself. Some of us have to, and we work it out, but it's amazing when you see that village and you see those people who actually care about your kids. It's important in the neighborhood that you live in. I stress that. But let's see. So we're being intentional. We're making sure our circle is strong. And we are not feeling guilty. That is, I always felt guilty leaving my kids or dropping them off. These are your kids. It was always drilled into me with my oldest son. That's your kid. I ain't have one. My mom would say that in a heartbeat. I ain't had that kid. You had that kid. I'd be like, I just asked you to watch him for 10 minutes so I can go around the corner to the stove. Yes, it is. It took me a long time to get, I was reading a comment. It took me a long time to get comfortable opening up to other people. But I used to feel guilty dropping the kids off, that so much so that I just didn't do it. It's one of the reasons why I didn't go out. It was like, why am I dropping my kids? Those are my kids. I had them, so let me deal with them. I'm not going to push them off on somebody else so I can go run around town with Sally, Jew, and Jane and drink and have fun or any of that stuff. And it got to the point where they would come to me and be like, you ain't going nowhere. You need to go out. Drop the kids off. Go have you some fun. And you come back and you pick them up on Saturday. And I was just like, but I don't want to. I didn't want to. I don't want to go. There was nothing to do. I don't like the clubs out here. It's up. But I didn't want to go out, but I needed that space. You would go home and you ain't got nothing to do. What am I doing with myself? I'm just gonna go home. I'm staring at the closet door. The TV's watching me. I'm not even sleeping. What am I doing? So I had to start finding and remembering who I am. I forgot who Akeda was. I was mom.
I can't hear you the same anymore.
Your audio is going in and out.
Let's see. I hope because I'm outside. It look quiet inside, so I might have to go inside. Is it still choppy? Okay. I had to reintroduce Akeda to Akeda because I didn't know who Akeda was anymore. I only know who mom was and what mom did and what mom needed to do for X, Y, and Z. I didn't know what Akeda did. I didn't know what Akeda needed. But Akeda was a foreign person, and it took therapy for me to realize that was affecting my relationships with my partner because he would be confused. Like I'm doing all these things, but you're still not happy. It's because I didn't know what made me happy anymore. I don't know. What you doing ain't working, but I don't know what you need to do. And that was something that I had to literally, try and start figuring out what makes me happy so that I can be happy and not expect someone else to just make me happy because that wasn't working. So we lose ourselves in our children a lot. And we have to sometimes just sit back and remember who we are and what makes us happy and what goals we set for ourselves. So in being intentional, set goals for yourself and make sure that they're realistic goals so that you can actually achieve those goals and feel accomplished for yourself. And lastly, I have two quotes. I have a quote and a Bible verse for you. So the quote is, how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. So if you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't care how, people talk to you, if you don't care how you look, if you don't care how you're perceived, then other people aren't going to care how they talk to you. Other people aren't going to care and make sure you're okay because they see that you don't care about anything. So if you don't care about anything, why should they care about anything for you? So you got to make sure that you're showing them, this is me. I take care of myself. I respect myself. So you're going to respect me. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to treat me bad because I'm not going to treat myself bad. I'm not going to accept that from anybody else. So you have to show people how you want to be treated, not just how you treat yourself, but I'm going to extend that and saying how you treat them. So if they see you treating other people bad, then they're going to think that that's okay. This is an acceptable behavior because this is the behavior you're presenting. You're saying this is acceptable. So you can't do something and then turn around and be like, nah, you can't do that because you're doing it. So how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. And lastly, I have this quote. It's one of the verses in the Bible that I like, and it's in Mark. It's Mark 5:34. And it says, he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. And for me, that was a moment where you can reflect and be like, everything you've gone through is not who you are. It's a piece of you. It's molded you, but it's not who you are. And you can go ahead and leave that behind you. You can leave the pain behind. You can leave the anger behind. You can leave the embarrassment behind. You can leave the resentment behind. And you can move forward in peace and prosperity and positivity and in love. Set your goals. Be organized. Be intentional. Have that circle, that accountability, and just keep moving forward. Your children feed off of you. You're an amazing mom, whether you think so or not. You're doing the best you can, and the best thing you can do is take care of yourself so that you can take care of them. You can't take care of them if you're not taking care of yourself. I'm not a medical professional, but I know that if we're not taking care of our bodies and they shut down on us, we can't take care of our kids. And I know, especially for me, I'm good at making sure the kids go to the dentist, to the doctor, get the annuals, eyeglasses, and maybe like, when the last time you went? Oh man, look, I made that appointment for next week. I'm going. So just making sure that, you know, your headspace is as clear as you can get it. It's not gonna be perfect. There's gonna be bad days. It don't matter what you do. You're just gonna have that day. And be okay with having that day. Know that it's okay. You're allowed to have that day. You're allowed to close your door and set the kids up. I know we don't like our kids in front of the TV all the time. Sometimes they need that 30 minutes because you need that 30 minutes. You can watch TV for 30 minutes. Here's your show. I'm gonna be in my room. Please don't bother me unless there's a fire. You know, don't touch the door. You know, don't answer the door. Don't touch my phone. Just sit right here. Here's your juice. Here's a snack. I'll be right on the other side of the door. Leave me alone. It's okay to do that sometimes. Not all the time. TV's not a babysitter. But sometimes it's okay to do that. And you need to do it. You need that. Okay. Your job, your kids, your partner, your ex, everybody knows how to push your button. Your job. Okay, here's what I got to do. Woosah, take a breath. Thank you, Jesus. I ain't kill nobody today. I thank you. I said it all the time. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for holding my tongue. Thank you for holding my hands. You know, please guide me. What do I need to do now? So we need all of that. And it's not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. I'm still learning it. And I know it's hard for us moms, but self-care is not selfish. So with that, I'm going to open up. Anybody got any questions? You know, if you got feedback, hit me up on Facebook. You know, I'm welcome to it. Like I said, this is my first time, so I'm very appreciative of you guys listening to me. And I do welcome any feedback because I really do feel like this is a area where, you know, moms just don't get enough credit. And we put so much on ourselves to be perfect, to be everything that everybody needs. And we don't take enough time for ourselves and don't take enough credit for everything that we do. So I am passionate about helping people not be bitter because I hate that bitter baby mama. We ain't bitter. We mad.
Right?
So we're mad. We're angry. We're frustrated. We're disappointed. But most of the times we ain't bitter because 9 times out of 10 we don't want the guy back. We don't want that.
There's levels to it. There's stuff missing. There's points that's missing that everybody doesn't understand.
Yeah. So, you know, that bitter bit, it just bothers me. It does. I haven't been called that, but it's just, whew, it's a lot. And I know a lot of moms have been called that. But just dealing with that whole single mom stuff anyway, it's a lot. And a lot of moms don't get the credit they deserve. So we want to give them credit as moms. We all are moms, regardless of our marital status. We're still all moms. So we should all support each other and love each other and hug on each other and support each other and be good. And that is all. What you guys got? Come on, hit me with it.
I see a lot of comments.
Great job. I'm so proud of you. You did it. Great job. Great story.
Very much needed topic.
More of it. Very good.
Definitely. I see It says, great point, facts. When you are focused on yourself, you aren't worried about anyone else. People were saying amen to that. Very true. Kids can see a lot. They definitely, you know, feel our energy. Let's see. The stress will catch up with you. Says, great suggestions. I wanted to get a hotel room until COVID-19 happened. She said, this is awesome. That is awesome.
I have been to a hotel since COVID, and let me tell you, I took my Lysol can. I had my Lysol. I wiped everything down. Like there was nothing that Lysol didn't touch it. The bed got sprayed, the counter, the doorknob, the sink, everything got wiped down. It's stressful going out right now. Like even going to the supermarket is stressful. You know, having to wear your mask because it's a reminder that there's something going on.
Right.
That could take you out. So it's definitely stressful, but at the same time, you know, we do have to find some source of relief. So if you're still uncomfortable with a hotel, go sit at the park for a little while, or, you know, hide in the basement if you got a basement. You know, let that be your hotel. You know, you got your babysitter upstairs, go out the side door, be downstairs, and they don't even know it. Just find some way for you to be able to get some time for yourself.
I saw Mikael said anger is definitely masked and hurt. And you were saying, I know you mentioned, were we all still with you, with your energy? And she said, yeah, she said, no, you said you went off topic, but Mikael was letting you know all of this information is very relevant. You were fine. You're doing just fine. Delegating is definitely self-care, yeah. Wendy said. Someone just, Stephanie posted the quote, there is another side to through, which Tiffany mentioned last night. Everyone was just cheering you on, telling you were doing great.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, and I'm sure everyone can unmute themselves when they're ready to speak.
One of the things I wanted to say, Akeda, was great job. And thank you for being very transparent, because when you was talking about how when you would go places and you have a kid, people would automatically assume that you are probably, you know, a woman that been with different men and stuff like that. And those are assumptions that people just assume, and we can't control what people assume, but that doesn't mean it doesn't affect us. Because I remember when I became a single mom, I wouldn't step foot in a church because I grew up Pentecostal and I know how those people think. So I was very, very, very shameful, very embarrassed, very uncomfortable. And I remember the first time I finally did have the guts to go into a church, I got stared down. I got stared down because it was me with 2 little kids in my hand with no man. So when you was talking about that and you was like, I hope I'm not boring you, I was like, oh no, this is all relevant, because those feelings are so profound. It keeps you in jail, basically. And you basically live like you condemn yourself. Mm-hmm. You condemn yourself. And I was married, because you said people become single parents in so many different ways. It's not like I had a baby out of wedlock. Everybody's story is different. It really doesn't matter. But I was married, and, you know, things went south, and we got a divorce, and here I am, a single mom with 2 kids. That's not what I wanted. And so, you know, and even if the person has died, people don't come to you and ask you questions. They just run with their assumptions. So one of the things is that, yes, I had a lot of anger, because I was angry that I couldn't control the situation. I was angry that people would judge me without getting to know me. I was angry. So yes, there was a lot of anger. And that's why I said anger is masked and hurt, because ultimately it's just being manifested in anger, but you're really angry because you're hurt. Right. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I still feel that. I finally found a church where I felt comfortable, but it took a couple of churches to not feel that walking in, like, oh, you know, here's that single mom with these kids, you know, and it's not even a single mom. Like, there's so many different ways that people judge you walking into, you know, they're looking at your clothes, you know, they're watching your car in the parking lot. You know, you walk into some churches and you can't sit in certain places. So there's just so many things walking into church anyway. And then when you try and think about actually getting involved, because most there are a lot of people who go to church just to go to church on Sunday, but I actually wanted to go to church and get involved. I didn't just want to go on Sunday. You know, I don't like mega churches. I want the pastor to know my name. You know, my pastor don't see me for a couple of weeks on Sundays before all of this. I'm getting a Facebook hit. Hey, I like to see your face on Sunday. You know, so I wanted to actually get involved and build that community, because I felt like I can't grow if I'm not interacting with people. If I'm just sitting in the pew, you can spell 50 verses to me, and I promise you I might know one and understand half of one. So I needed that somebody to be able to talk to break it down, to get a little bit deeper into the scripture that you don't get into in a sermon. The sermon, you know, that they're explaining what they're talking about, but they're still giving you 5, 6, 7 different Bible verses, and you might not know what the real meaning of that Bible verse is, because everybody has a different interpretation. So it was a lot trying to find a space that I felt comfortable. And a lot of people go through that. You got people who are, you know, I have gay friends, so they have issues trying to find a church where they feel comfortable. So it's just a lot with religion and finding comfortability and being where you are. But yeah, the single mom's just, whew, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's like peeling the onions, like Shrek. There's different layers.
It's really kind of fun listening to the different perspective, because I never thought of it that way. I was a teenage mother. I had my daughter when I was 18. I had my son when I was 19. And so I never cared what anybody thought. This was me. Let's do it. You know, I was always, so I never even thought of the perspective of, is it embarrassing coming in without a husband? Is it, you know, like I never, so in case you ever feel insecure, know that there's a whole slew of us who just don't give a damn, frankly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but I guess that comes down to your upbringing and where you kind of was raised. I grew up Pentecostal. I grew up in that strict environment with that strong head mentality. So if you grew up free spirited, that might be different. So it's it depends on how you grew up.
I didn't grow up free spirited, but I did not grow up allowing people's opinions to dictate me. I've always been a very independent thinker. I learned later that a lot of it, some of it was like, first of all, I didn't grow up in a home where it was like my mom and my dad. And so there was this thing. I grew up in a single family home. I grew up thinking that my father died when I was 2 years old. I say I grew up thinking that because when I was 24, I found out that the man that she told me was my dad really wasn't my dad. But so I grew up without a dad. So it was like, oh, okay, you know, and so grew up with the stepfather, did, you know, that whole thing. And I just never thought that I should worry myself about what other people, because I got 2 kids that I need to figure out what to do with, right? And then as I got older, I realized, oh, I know what it is. What it is I had become really good at appearing as though I have it all figured out so that people don't bother me. Like if you appear to have yourself together enough, people don't ask you questions. They don't come and, you know, like they don't think, oh, poor her. For me, I was this single mom. I had my baby girl at 18. I had my baby boy 8.5 months later, literally at 19. I bought a house at 24. I was a paralegal, went to school. Like I did the thing. But I figured out if I do enough, it'll make everybody else leave me alone. And even if my family is upset with me or disappointed in me, they're going to get over it because I'm not bothering them. You know what I mean? Like I figured it out. And so I remember going to church. I started going to church regularly. Yes, I grew up in church when we were younger, but like really consistent. I think I was like 21. So the kids were about 2 or 3 or something like that. And I remember there it being a little awkward, but luckily there was a couple of other girls who were my age that had kids, and those were my friends, you know, like that's who we rock with. And I remember Mother's Day one time, them passing out flowers, and they like passed me, and I was like, no, I'm the mom. But because I was so young, that's why people didn't know, you know, like I would drop the kids off at school and they'd be like, oh, is that your big sister? To my kids, and the kids would be like, what? No, that's my mom, you know, because I'm like this young girl. So I get it, but I realized for myself, and this was like a new revelation, it was because I had mastered just keeping it together so that I didn't worry myself. But even today, I really don't worry myself about what people think so much. I'm enrolled in Minding My Business University. I'm a full-time student there. And therefore, I automatically enroll you in any tutoring class of I didn't ask you no questions. Like that's a tutoring class that I offer to people. Like I'm gonna enroll you in the I didn't ask you no questions tutoring course if you start getting in my business, because I'm at this university. And so that's how I kind of get through. Like y'all think I'm kidding, but when I posted
that's very powerful that you say that you grew up like without a dad. Like I grew up with both parents in a church where everybody had a husband. So you see what I mean? And everybody sat with their little family, and it was just the
looking
norm.
perfect.
Right. So when I got divorced, it was like, oh my God, I'm the only one on this earth.
Right.
Besides what
And
I see on TV.
7 billion. Yes.
Exactly. Besides what I see on
that.
TV, that's divorced. So I felt like an outcast, straight up.
Of course.
I felt like an outcast. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. But I love that. Like if somebody listening to this could really have a breakthrough of the different perspectives of that's all it is. Like the way you were brought up, they were trying to get it right. They were trying to, but it also causes stigma that anybody who's not married is just a horrible person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for me, I'm like, yeah, I really don't care. So maybe my mom did raise me as a free spirit, even though she cares a lot more. She's not enrolled in the same university as me, but I don't know where I can.
What's the name of that university again?
Minding My Business University. Minding My Business
University.
We're always taking new students. We're taking students, open enrollment.
And what about the tutoring? What's the tutoring one?
Oh, girl, my tutoring will change depending on what you need. I will get you in a tutoring class real fast. You'll get in the I didn't ask you no questions tutoring course real quick. Yes, but I got a couple other ones that Jamie might not want me to mention on this course. But I got some tutoring courses for some people.
Okay, wait. So back to your day. You one of them Christians who cuss on the side.
Oh, you didn't know? They gonna give me a T-shirt. I'm a Christian, but I cuss a little. Sometimes I don't cuss people out.
They have that T-shirt already.
They do. I said I need one. I don't cuss people out. I'm not that girl who's just no. But if I get too excited, y'all gotta keep me like right here, because I'll be like, guess what? And then, so I try to stay right here. Thank you.
Hey, Akeda. I wanted to say that this is Tiffany. I want to say that I really thank you for having the courage to speak out and really address the stigma that comes with single motherhood. I grew up with a single mother, and I have a brother and a sister. It's 3 of us, and we all had different dads. And I remember growing up feeling like really ashamed and, confused, like, well, why her daddy is different than mine, and why my brother don't got my daddy in, why he bring her stuff but don't bring us stuff. It was just so confusing. But I have a special place in my heart for single mothers. I didn't end up being a single mother, and I think it was because I had that trauma growing up, experiencing that with me and my brother and my sister having different dads. So I did end up getting married, and I've been married, but I still have a special place in my heart for single mothers because I watched my mother struggle to raise us, and I know how hard it was for her. So, and it is a stigma, and I really commend you for speaking out and being honest about your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody wakes up and they're like, I'm gonna be a single mom. I'm gonna have a kid at 17 or 18, or people ask me all the time, like, you have such a big gap between your kids. You have a 22-year-old and then you have a 10-year-old. I was like, so I was supposed to just keep repeating the same mistake until I got it right? Like, I tried to mature and grow and, like say, next time I'm gonna do it the right way. So even though it didn't work out that way, I still wasn't gonna be like, okay, well, I had one, might as well just keep going down that rabbit hole and be that person with 5 kids under 21. So I was just like, no. But my mom and dad were married. It didn't work out, but I grew up with just my mom in the house. My grandmother was married. Her husband left her, started a whole new family. So I grew up watching married women still become single moms. So I was like, my thought process was, that ain't gonna be me. It ended up being me in a different way, but I don't think I think people take that and they're just like, you know, like it's something we want. Like, I don't think anybody wants it. And once we find ourselves in that position, there's not enough love going around that says, okay, you're in this position, but you don't have to be defined by it. Like, that doesn't have to be your life. You don't just have to be a single mom, you know.
Well,
You
you know
can
what,
just be
Akita, when you
mom.
said that, and what it really helped me, it's like a healing now, because looking at it now, growing up, I think I judged my mother. You know, like I couldn't understand, especially like when I got older. I'm like, cause it was three of us, we all had different dads, and then she would always have like a different guy, and I'm like, can you just find somebody? Like, why every guy that come around, is this gonna be our daddy? Like, we just never knew, you know. But like you just said, I never thought about that. Maybe she didn't want that. Like, maybe she was looking for something stable, and it just didn't work out, and each time it just happened to be like that, you know.
Yeah. And
But
as
I
kids,
did
we don't
watch
know.
her. Yeah, I did watch her, you know, go through a lot with us. That's why I say I do have a special place in my heart. But looking back now, I think growing up, I was judgmental because I just wanted to have a daddy like everybody else. And I wanted
Yeah.
all of us to have the same daddy, you know, but it just wasn't like that, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
it
funny
is.
you said that because I judged my mom for the opposite. You know, my mom didn't date at all. Last time I
Okay.
remember my mom going out on a date, I was probably like 5 or 6 or 7 or so. And I would be like, why you don't go find somebody? I need a stepdad. I need somebody to come and take me out or take you out so you can get up out my business. Something like you need to do something. Like, why you not doing nothing? You know, I felt like she gave up on life after, you know, her and my dad split. So I was resentful for that. So, you know, you can grow up in the same scenario in the same household and have two completely different perspectives on what life is like. And, you know, we don't know why they did it. You know, they might have met somebody who wasn't treating one of the kids right, you know, or, you know, they didn't want kids at the end of the day. And whatever the situation was, we don't know why they ended up not dating or dating multiple people for ourselves. Like, I've had to let people go that I just felt like weren't going to be good fits for my kids. Like, you good person, we connect, but you're not family, and I'm a family person. So if you ain't a family person, this ain't gonna work. You know, me and my son's dad, he tried to be a family person. You know, we all tried to will him into a family person, but at the end of the day, he's just not a family person. And we just have to let him go and be who he wants to be. And that's just, you know, it. Sometimes you find out very early where you can let that person go and you can cross ties. I ain't got no kids with you. Peace out. You can hit me up on Facebook if you see me. And then unfortunately, sometimes it happens later on in life, after children, after marriages. You know, people find out in their 50s. They've been married for 30 years, and all of a sudden they wake up one morning and I don't like you no more. So yeah, we all find ourselves in different situations, and everybody gets there for a different reason. So that's why I say it's really important for us to look inside and listen to people's stories other than the first sentence or their title. Look beyond the title and look at the person. But I think
Absolutely. I completely agree. I definitely, when you moved as a friend, I was so nervous, like, oh my God, my friend is going somewhere where there's no one, you know, like no support system. But you definitely wound up in a family of people that are like, whoever is your family is their family. They are so welcoming, like, hey, oh, you gonna be, oh, you her friend, all right, that means you family. So like, you ended up, even though you're not with their son, like, that's a really great support system to have. And so like, you definitely fell into a great family, and then you still have your own family that supports you as well. So like, that part is amazing. But going back to what all of you were talking about you know, being a single mom and then walking into this realm of like what people are, the stigma that people have when you are a single mom. Like, you know, Akeda, I had Ajay and Damania both before I met Orlando. And so when I met him, now I'm meeting this man whose family are witnesses. So already, like, that type in that family, anybody who's not a Jehovah's Witness is considered worldly. And so me meeting this family, I was like, oh my God, I don't know. I think they're not gonna like me, and like I'm already like this worldly girl with 2 kids from 2 different people, so this is automatically gonna be a mess. And meeting his mom right away, like she embraced me just on the fact that I was who I was, like the type of person I was. She's like, "Oh, you're not like them other daughter-in-laws." I'm like, "Great, we're gonna get along just fine." Like, but still having the other half of the support system being Ajay's grandparents, my kids call her grandma. Like that's not their grandma, but and she sees Orlando and that's like, "Oh, hey son." Like it's a loving, like we definitely landed in some great families. I will definitely say that. And I think I posted a picture a few days ago, a video of us all being out and like just the
Ajay's
whole,
game.
yeah, the whole family being together. Like when you can get to that part,
It's
and
amazing.
sometimes you can get to that part without the individual that you were with. When you're there, like having that community and that village is amazing, it's powerful. All your tips were amazing, getting organized, being intentional, definitely shaking that mommy guilt off, because even just like you said, no matter whether you're a single mom or a mom in general, we all struggle with that mom guilt of trying to be everything to everybody. And if we can't make one game, or like Orlena just did her teacher said, "Oh, what was your favorite part of the Thanksgiving feast that we had at the school?" And she said, "I don't want to write about that because my mom wasn't there." And I was like, "Oh." And then I thought about it, like I couldn't be there, I had to work. Like, so even though it hit me at the moment, like, oh man, I feel sad that she was sad. I'm like, but your mommy got a job, so your mommy has to go to work. Like there are times when I can take off to do things, and then there are times when I'm like, okay, can someone record this for me and send it to me? Thank you very much. Like, and I have to try to get out of that, trying to be everywhere all the time. But those are good points, and self-care is not selfish. I think we, like many of us, need to drill that in our heads, definitely. So those points were on point. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you. I'm gonna let you pray. I'm a hush.
Okay, so now this is another first for me. So y'all pray with me as I pray for you.
You good.
All right. Let's bow our heads. God, we just want to come first and foremost and say thank you. Thank you for the gifts of our children who have made us moms, because without them, we would not be moms. We would just be regular individuals walking this earth. We might be aunties, but we wouldn't be moms. So thank you, thank you, thank you for those little people and big people who call us mom, mama, ma, whatever they call you. We also want to give thanks for the people who helped us become moms, whether they are part of our lives, whatever those relationships are. Without them, we also wouldn't be moms. And we want to thank everybody, because we know that you love everybody. In order for us to be who we are, we have to love everybody as you love us. So we want to say thank you. So I say thank you. Thank you for my baby fathers, because without them, I wouldn't be mamas. And this is me growing. And you know me, God, it took me a long time to get here. So thank you, and thank you again. I want to thank you for everybody in this chat room, everybody who can hear my voice, everybody who will hear my voice. I want all the moms out there to be encouraged, God, and I need you to dig within them, because you know each and every one of us. You know every hair on our body, so you know what it'll take for us to feel encouraged, to get through that day, to get through that hour, to get through that work day, whatever it is that we got going on that we need to get through, to know that we can do it again for the next day and the next day and the next day, and that we are appreciated, because we appreciate what you do for us. So we want to do everything in thanks and everything in the way that you have taught us, and help us to be better people. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 So thank you, ladies. I thank you so much for listening and engaging with me and bearing with me. I don't talk in public a lot at all. I'm learning to grow my circle. It's very small. I like it small, but I'm trying to grow it and become a better person outside of the earth. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you for being a part of this Moms in Prayer. This week has been really, really great and powerful, and everybody's input has been so amazing and helpful. And I just feel blessed that, like I said, that I picked all of you to be a part of this journey with me, and I'm just grateful that you all decided to come along for the ride. You weren't like, no, girl, you do that by yourself. So thank you all again. We will be here tomorrow night. Again, tomorrow night, we're doing this again. Tomorrow night is going to be at 8 p.m. right here. It's going to be Tiffany.
Yay,
She's going to be talking about coping strategies for the parents of the class of COVID-19. And I know that's going to be interesting. So